Next, we have First Vice Chief David Pratt from the Federation of Sovereign Indigenous Nations.
All right, thank you very much. Tamska Tinawa, Nawago Gamantik, David Pratt, Nasigo-san, Muscapiting, Ochinya. First of all, I acknowledge you all today. I greet all my friends and relatives. My name is David Pratt from the land where they call Muscapiting, or the earth where they call Muscapiting, in beautiful, unceded, unsurrendered Treaty 4 territory in Saskatchewan. I want to acknowledge the unceded, unsurrendered territory that we're standing on right now, the Huron and Algonquin people, for them having us in their territory too as well, upon which these parliament buildings are built. I want to acknowledge all of our chiefs that have come across this country to gather today on such an important occasion as the King's visit. I have a few messages I want to deliver on behalf of Chief Cameron, on behalf of the FSI and the 74 First Nations in Saskatchewan. Number one, our message is to the King, King Charles. We want to remind him of his obligations under treaty. We want to remind him to continue to uphold and respect the treaty relationship that his great-great-grandmother, Queen Victoria, signed with us. When all our chiefs and their predecessors years ago agreed to share this land. It's not supposed to be a one-sided relationship where Canada would dictate our lives by the Indian Act and other pieces of foreign legislation. It was meant to be a respectful relationship where we would continue to live our lives, practice our treaty and inherent rights of hunting, trapping, fishing, and trade amongst one another. It was not meant to be what it is today, which is the oppression of our people. So we want to remind the King, our chiefs want to see him. Our chiefs want to see the King to remind him of his obligations under treaty. Number two, our message is to Canada. We want to remind the Canadian state of their obligations under treaty. We want to tell Canada, Prime Minister Carney's been elected today. He acknowledged three things when he was elected, three nations. He acknowledged the English people when he went to England. He acknowledged the French people when he went to Paris. And he acknowledged the First Nations too of this land. The three founding peoples of Canada. He recognized them. We want to call upon the government of Canada to stop fighting our people in court and start implementing and honoring the treaties. Direct his Minister of Justice and Attorney General to conclude the deal on long-term reform on child welfare, to fully implement the treaty right to health, education, and justice. We call upon Minister Alty, as she's taken the role of CERNAC, to reopen the treaty tables, to come and sit with our treaty commissioners in Saskatchewan and Manitoba and deal with us in good faith as what the ministers agreed to when we touched that pen 150 years ago. Three, we want to send a message to the premiers of Alberta and Saskatchewan. There will be no separation. Two, we call upon those premiers, Premier Smith, Premier Moe, and Premier Canoe, to fully work with us on repealing the NRTA, which we believe is a breach of treaty. When we touched that pen, our chiefs only agreed to share the depth of a plow. We were told it was for agricultural purposes and settlement that the Queen's subjects were going to come. So we agreed to share. It was not meant to be what it is today, where the provinces in Western Canada continue to develop resources in our own backyard while we live in poverty. That's not right. This building right now, they're renovating. $4.5 to $5 billion is what Canada is spending to renovate these buildings while our elders live in rotten, moldy homes. That's not right. So we speak to the premiers. There will be no separation. And fourth, the message to our own people, to our chiefs and to our people across Turtle Island that are listening far and wide today. Let's stand together. Let's continue to be united. Let's continue to build upon the good work of our previous leaders, such as Harold Cardinal, David Ahenecue, Elijah Harper, that have took that stand. A whole new generation. They say difficult times will bring out the best in leadership. And that's what I see here this morning, all these bonnets. So the media, the message I want you to carry out there is that we are still here. We are still practicing our culture, ceremonies, and our languages, and we want to continue to thrive like the rest of Canada. So kache miigwech, thank you very much. Ahaw.
Oh, miigwech, miigwech. Next up, we have from Treaty 8, Grand Chief Trevor McCready.
Good morning. Good morning. First of all, I want to thank the pipe carriers this morning for their prayer, the drummers that brought us in, the chiefs, the council, the leaders, the people here today, and especially our Treaty 8 chiefs that have traveled a long way to be a part here of this assembly today. It's important to understand why we're here today, why we bring everybody together. We're not here for a holiday to come and shake hands with the king and take pictures. We're here for very serious issues. Right now, we're united all across Canada. When we talk about separation of the provinces, we understand that that cannot happen. It may seem like we're promoting and protecting the provinces themselves when we're saying Alberta cannot separate. That is not true. We're simply protecting our rights and letting Alberta know, Saskatchewan know, that they own nothing, that these rights and these lands are ours and always will be ours. Now, legislation that passes through our provincial legislature and what happens here at Parliament are impacting our rights each and every day. We have no recourse. We have no way to stop it. They have everything put in place to weaken our nations. However, our nations are very strong. It's been 125 years since Treaty 8 has been signed, and we're stronger than ever. Why do I say that? It's because we understand. We fully understand what is happening today, as do the leaders here. There's talk of separation, and that's fundamental. It's a fundamental issue because of our treaties. And when we see talk of separation, it's outright disrespect to our people in the treaties. In Treaty 8, it's the largest treaty in Canada. We have 24 nations. There's billions, if not trillions of dollars taken out of our territories every year. None of it comes back to our nations. Yet you see around here today all these buildings, all this infrastructure, all the construction that was mentioned earlier. Where's that money coming from? Taxpayers? Where are the taxpayers getting this so-called money? It's coming off of our lands and off the backs of our people. And today it's got to stop. We're here today, we don't have an audience with the king. That is a problem. We have chiefs coming from all across Canada. He's flying 7 hours. Some of us flew 7 hours to be here. And some of us took a lot longer to be here. It takes time and money and effort to be here. To come this far and understand that we don't have an audience with the king is very, very disheartening. When there's legislation being passed at the provincial level, we have a lady, a lieutenant governor, that's supposed to stop some of these bills that are against the Constitution. They are not following their responsibilities. Same with the Governor General. They're trying to take our rights away. We're seeing what's happening in BC, in Saskatchewan, all around us, and there's a concerted effort. What are we going to do? We have to sue. We have to get together and we have to unite. The Grand Chiefs, the Chiefs of Canada have to get together and we have to talk. Enough time has passed, 125 years for us up in Treaty 8. We've never ceded or surrendered our lands. It's not possible. That's why when they talk about separation, Alberta could leave with what they came with, which is absolutely nothing. There's stories in our territories of people coming starving, settlers that could not survive the winters. We helped them survive. And their ancestors had relationships with our people, but today those relationships are no longer there because the understanding isn't there that they're here because of treaty. And when you're here because of treaty, that makes each and every person here a treaty person if you're in our territories as a visitor. And when you're a visitor to anybody's house, you don't walk into their house with their shoes on, go to their fridge, take out their food, and walk away. That's what the premiers are doing, and that's what Canada is doing to our people. when are we going to stop? We really need to make sure that these institutions that are put in place to protect our treaties and the Constitution are in place, and that we are forcing them to do their jobs. It's with heavy hearts that we are here today. We all have issues at home, but we're here today to fight for the most important issue of all, and that's our treaties and our lands, resources. And it's about time the King, the Prime Minister, and the Premiers fully understand. And if it takes lawsuits for them to fully understand, then that's what we'll do. Once again, thank all the chiefs for coming this long ways. It's a beautiful day. It's an honor to be here. Masicho. Thank you.
Thank you, Grand Chief. And up next, we have the Assembly of First Nations Regional Chief Willie Moore.
Danse. Kaya daw ito tamiskat na last go out. Someone too for letting us gather. I'd like to acknowledge our relatives and the Algonquin and Anishinaabe peoples for letting us gather on their territory. For far too long, our rights have been ignored. Our land's being exploited, and our people, our communities treated unjustly. That is not the true spirit and intent of the treaty. We are gathered here today, leadership from coast to coast, to remind the royal family and their state, Canada, that they have failed sacred commitment on their part of the treaty. We honored our duty. How can we move forward in real, meaningful reconciliation when the past and present has been nothing but genocide, atrocities, and broken promises? We are here to remind King Charles there will be no Canada without our people when we sign treaty. That is why we are gathered here, where the pipe ceremony had taken place, because that's how the treaty process was done. But I'd like to acknowledge the leadership that came to gather. And it was important for us to gather in unity, to remind that one common message, that we are here to remind the state to reaffirm our treaty relationship. We're here to remind Canada and the state that they didn't honor their part of the treaty. Those days are done. The exploitation of our lands without the inclusion and the recognition of our rights. Those days are done when policy, legislation, and law are developed for us, laws that are designed for us to continue to be poor. So with that, I just want to give the chance for one of our chiefs in Manitoba to address the delegation, the media, as to why we are gathered here as well. We call up Chief Derek Nipanak from the Minigozibe Anishinaabe.
I'm Derek Nipanak, Chief of the Minigozibe Anishinaabe. There's about 6,000 of us Ojibways on the west shore of Lake Winnipegosis. I'm very honored and grateful and humbled by the mandate that I carry for my community, my people. Me and my boy, Ngozis Kiwaitan, he's here with me. We traveled over 20 hours to get here over land. And we're here in belief of treaty. That's all I've ever known. If there's ever hope in these great lands for a legitimate constitution of Canada, it's because it rests on a foundation of treaty. We have to wake up to that understanding. One of our great leaders this morning reminded us that we've been living in a cage. And if you look at the fencing around here, we're stuck in a cage. Treaty represents the original freedom of our people. Treaty represents a great peace that can exist here in our homelands. And it's important to reflect upon peace because the world is at war right now. And there's a genocide happening in Gaza. There's war everywhere because people won't come together and talk and live in peace and build relationships. That's what treaty represents. That's what the elders remind us of. That's what we're here to remind the king, is that first and foremost there's treaties with the original people that have to be respected. And we deserve the ear of the king when he comes to these lands to talk to his subjects. We need him to remind his subjects of the honor of the crown and the duties that their elected representatives owe to us as the original people. That's what message we hope he brings for his subjects when he speaks tomorrow. We're also here in allyship. Treaties 6, 7, and 8 are allies in the West because a threat to treaty anywhere is a threat to treaty everywhere. I'm very honored today to walk behind these Eagle staffs with the leadership, recognizing the elders who lifted the pipes this morning to get us started in the right way. I want every Canadian to remember you're on treaty land, and you're looking at the original people from these treaty lands, and we offer our hand to you in friendship and in treaty. Miigwech.